Hello, hello, welcome everyone, welcome. All right, so just wanted to give a little bit of housekeeping. We do have the chat and video open for everyone in this session, but I'll be quiet and stop trying to be the host and let Miss James do her job.
All right, good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Lewis Stokes Midwest Regional Center of Excellence, we welcome you to today's session titled Research Internships and Voices of Experience. My name is Darian James. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I will serve as your moderator for the session today. And I am pleased to be here as I'm connected with LSAMP through being an alumni. I am currently a scientist at Pfizer in their rotational development program, and I earned my BS in nuclear engineering and my master's and recently my PhD in biomedical engineering from UW-Madison. So a few housekeeping things. This session is being recorded and will be made available for viewing in the Whova app by next Wednesday. We ask you to please provide feedback to today's session. I'll be sure to post the link to the survey after the session or around the end of the session. And this session is all about engagement. So if you have questions for the presenter, please use the Whova discussion board to post your questions at any time. Raise your hand, you can unmute yourselves. We want this to be really engaging. And this session is scheduled to take about 45 minutes. And so it's imperative that we stay within that time frame. So if we run out of time for Q&A at the end of the session, we encourage you to still continue to use the discussion board. So without further ado, I'll have Mr. Brian Thomas give you an intro.
All right, so you've had a chance to get to see my face a few times over the last few days and interact with you. About a month ago or so, Deb and the LSMRCE team, we, as part of our speaker series, we started to do a lot more dialogue around internships. We definitely know the value and the importance of it, and we just thought it would be an important topic here at the conference this year. We do have, as you guys listened, I believe you listened to yesterday, you all listened to yesterday, Eaton Corporation opportunities, Fermilab opportunities, et cetera. So not only are we talking about internships, but we are actually bringing those opportunities to the forefront. And in this session, you know, we wanted to basically give you a little bit more freedom of dialogue. We do have a later session, our next session on internships. It's going to be a little bit more teaching, but we wanted to make sure that you got feedback from those that have gone through internships themselves. And we're calling this the Voices of Experience with it. And then our next session will be a little bit more on the teaching side and instructional. So what I wanted to do was first off, just open the room up for those that are open to sharing their internship experiences. Darian, you have the freedom to step in at any time, and I know there are a few others who mentioned that they would like to share. So I just wanted to make sure you guys had the room available at the beginning here to just start dialoguing about your experience if you did an internship. And we can call it internship normally, you know, that may be you going to go work at a specific place, even at a university. But sometimes summer research experiences are not considered paid at some institutions, some may not, but those are still a form of an internship as well. So I wanted to make sure that we didn't lose sight to that as well. So I'll just open the floor real quick. You could use the raise your hand feature if you would like to come off mute. And what I would like for you to do is share who you are, what you're doing, and then give us a little bit of feedback about how did you get your first internship? And then what was that journey of going through an internship for you, and how has it benefited you at this point in your career? And that's not all speak at once.
I can break the ice, I guess, Brian.
Break the ice.
Okay, so for me, I did internships in both undergraduate and graduate school, and how I went about them, I went to my career services office. I was probably there all the time. They may even say, some people may even say too much. So definitely I would say utilize career services to your advantage. I would always ask about internship opportunities that were available. And that's how I got partnered with the Minority Serving Institutions internship program. And that afforded me 2 internships. in terms of working for URS Corporation, which used to stand for United Research Services, and the other was with Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. That's how I went about them. I also attended a conference, the National Society of Black Engineers Conference, which allowed me to get interviewed on the spot. And I actually got an internship on the spot there as well. So I think that also pours into always having your resume available, always having an elevator pitch available. So when people are asking you what you want, you're able to articulate that. I was able to develop a lot of skills that I think would not have been gained had I not taken internships. And I'll also say that I didn't intend to go to graduate school initially. And I think the currency is different, right? So if you do internships, typically that means you want to go into industry, and the currency for industry is experience, which is internships. But going to graduate school, having research experience is better. And so I think having both would be great, and understanding that you can get transferable skills, whether you do an internship or a research experience.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that. Darian, would you say that you felt like it was of great value to you doing your internship?
Absolutely. I learned a lot during all of my internships, and not just technical. I think that's something that's also important, that you're not just gaining technical skills, but things that'll take you further. So getting some sort of transferable skills that you can take with you. And I've learned a lot of lessons that I still use to this day.
Awesome. So, it's important that we get an internship at some point. And I really want to say that at some point, because a lot of people believe that it's not possible to get an internship like being a freshman or a sophomore in college. And some people don't know that you could get an internship in high school, right? You could be interning in high school. My wife interned in high school. So don't feel that there's some rules that are against you. Is it a little bit harder? Do you have to be a little bit more creative? Do you maybe need to speak with more boots? Yes. But that's it's worth it. The return on that investment is there. So I do want you to stay encouraged as maybe if you're younger, it may not be as easy as when you're older and you got an established resume, but still do be encouraged early on to get those opportunities. And so let's just talk about this real quick before we have someone else share. When you're talking about why am I doing this? Well, sometimes it can be for the good and for the bad. Say you have a bad internship experience. And what I mean by bad is you find out, you know what, I don't really like this, right? That might be one of the best eye-opening moments of your life, because you may have just found out that the direction that you were going with your studies and your academic path needs to be altered, and you may need to have a pivot. And that may be great for you. Instead of going through college, getting this degree and finding out, you know what, I don't even like to work in this field. Well, why don't we allow internships to help redefine or refine our choice, our academic choice as well. So I would like to transition to someone else that has done an internship that would like to share about their experience with an internship, how they went about getting that internship, and how it's been of benefit to them afterwards. Feel free to use the raise your hand, or feel free to take yourself off of mute.
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So for internship, is you said, is summer research an internship, or is it not considered one?
Officially, some could say it's not an internship, but for me, I look at summer experiences as internships. So for me, a research experience is of same value to me. Sometimes in the academic world, we may not call the things that are done on campus as internships, and a lot of that terminology could be used in the business corporate space. But at least I would like to get anybody else that wants to give their professional opinion on this. I do believe that research experience fits in the same bill, because to me, I look at it as your summer experience. Now, what we call during the semester, we don't call them internships as much. We call them co-ops, things that you may do like an internship job during a semester. But I'm looking at it from a, what are you doing with your summers type of experience dialogue when I'm looking at recruiting a candidate. But I would like to get, if there's any faculty or anyone else that has a little more feedback in this space, what are your thoughts on that? You can raise your hand, or you can just speak up if you have an opinion about it. All right, well, Nina, I guess I'm right.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, because I wanted to kind of talk about my experience with it.
No, please share your experience with the summer research then.
Okay, well, I like you said, you can start research probably high school. I did not know that. I did not also know that I was qualified enough for that. But throughout my freshman year, I found out that there were summer research opportunities that were paid. So I was like, well, maybe I should just try it, especially since I was interested in research. And although I didn't have any qualifications or research experience, I still applied for them and I got into one of them. And with that, I didn't really know what to expect. I know that I did want to do research. I know that I was interested in healthcare and healthcare disparities and stuff like that. So I went in there just kind of not knowing what to do. But as soon as I got into it, I think it made me realize that this is something that I wanted to do, especially as focusing in medicine or at healthcare disparities. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I got from my research experience.
Awesome. Do you feel that as you look at what you want to do next, are you thinking more research, or do you want to get a little bit more of industry experience?
I think I'm going to continue doing research. I really enjoyed the research process, and especially the specific research that I was doing, which was qualitative. So I really enjoyed it. So I want to continue that, especially just looking at different research opportunities as well.
Awesome. And if I'm not mistaken, you're on a path to PhD, correct?
No, I'm on a path to medical school.
Medical school. So I got a question and would like advice, feedback from others. So let's take the academic track. So say we have an undergrad who wants to get a PhD. Is there a hybrid approach you recommend they take? Or if you have a student who's 18, 19 years old, is like, I want to get my PhD, do you recommend that they just research like crazy every opportunity they get? Or do you think they should mix in a little industry experience with the research over the years? What are your thoughts and opinions on that for those who know they want to go the academic track? Darian, I know you want to. I see it on your face. I saw it on your face.
I think if you know for sure that you want to do academia, or if you want to earn a PhD, I don't think it would hurt to do as much research as you can. But also understand that you can develop long-term relationships with research labs, where you could do those during the semester or the school year. And then if you did want to try an internship just to get that experience and just to see what it's like, you could always test that out during the summer. And then when you come back to school, you can still maintain that relationship with not only the people who you have the research experience with, but also the internship experience. So I think it wouldn't hurt to get internship experience. But I do think that the currency for graduate school, people do enjoy having undergraduates who've just graduated come in and already have had some research experience under their belt. And it doesn't hurt because you could also get publications out of it.
Awesome. That's great feedback. Would anybody else like to share any feedback in that on that particular question about those students who know that they want to take an academic track? All right. Well, we do have, Darian, we got a number of questions that actually came through the Hoover app. Are you able to see those, Darian?
I am.
Okay, let's maybe let's go through a few of those real quick.
Okay. So the first question I see is, how were your experiences as interns?
So I'll actually speak on mine, and I would love anyone else that'd like to share. For me, it was two things that were important. One, I needed the experience, right, to help beef up my resume post graduation, but also I needed some money. And I'll be transparent. I was broke. I was broker than broke in college. I ate so many ramen noodles that when I graduated, I went and bought a big box of them. And my mom said, "Why are you buying this box?" I said, "So I can look at them every day and never eat them again." I just want to look at you and say, I'll never, if I had a choice, I never want to eat those again. But in all seriousness, I did, right? Just being transparent with you as students. I needed the experience because I knew where I wanted to go in my career, but I also was okay with making some money. And so that was really a good experience for me because I got connected with a really good company, some really good mentors. It led to a co-op experience to where I actually left school for a semester. So I did 3 months in the summer, and then I left school for a semester where I did get credit. I got college credit for that co-op. And then because of the proximity to my university, my professors before worked from schooling from the computer and virtual classes were acceptable. I had two professors who were really, really proud of what I was doing in industry and with my co-op, that they let me do a virtual classroom when a virtual that didn't even exist, but they just wanted to support me. So I was able to take 2 classes while I was doing my co-op, and it changed my life. If it wasn't for that first internship that I did, I wouldn't have had the clarity because I changed my major slightly. My focus within my major changed. And then I started to beef up my resume. I started to make a little bit of money. And where that making a little bit of money helped me, when I say it helped change my life, is that it took one less stressor off of me as a college student. It's not that I was rich, but I was just had something in my pocket, just a little something to where it was just like one less thing to stress less about, and it allowed for me to be better academically. I did not make a grade less than an A for the last 3.5 years in college. I was focused. I had that internship really helped me. It helped me. I was focused before that. And then when I got it, it helped me stay focused and finish the mission before graduation. So for me, it was a very important moment in my life to get my first internship. I remember printing it off and giving it to my mom and telling her I had my first professional job and made her proud. And I wanted her to know that I will, make her happy for the rest of my life. And this is step one into that journey because, I felt like she sacrificed a lot to get me there. And I was proud. I promise you, I cried when I got my first internship because I was a poor kid from the inner city. And I didn't even have clothes. I didn't have khakis and polo shirts to wear to work. Right. So my mom took me to go buy khakis and polo shirts, and I just had 5. And I would rotate those 5 out every week, and I would mix and match the shirts to look like I had a different outfit on, but I was willing to do what was necessary to be great because I was very appreciative of the opportunity because I saw it as something that could help change my life. And for me, because I took it that serious, it did. So that's at least on my side of it, how important an internship was to me. Ironically, that internship was Eaton Corporation, the internship that students are able to get now that Carmel presented the other day. Sorry if anybody has to go behind that story. No, nobody's gonna want to share now. But in all seriousness, I think that's an important question It's a very simple question of what was your experience, right? Because you also could have a bad experience, and that bad experience could actually be of great value to someone as well. So please feel free. What are your experiences? If you did an internship, what was that, and what a value did it bring to you? Please feel free to raise your hand, or you can easily just come off mute. Or Darian, we can go to I think we got like 4 or 5 questions in there already.
We do. And you can also put it in the chat or comment it if you don't want to, if you have stage fright. So feel free to do that as well. I am monitoring the chat, so that's why I'm looking down if you see me looking down. But our next question is how to learn something new in such a short amount of time.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good question. And I would love anybody else that'd like to share feedback on this. From my perspective, you know, I didn't know that I had to learn a lot. Because I was ignorant to what an internship was. So it wasn't like on day one, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to learn so much. Looking back on the internship, I'm like, wow, there was a lot of information in a very short period of time. But where I would give yourself some confidence in that is look what you do in a school year. So really, you show up to school at like late August, early September. So we got September, October. Some people have like mid-semester breaks. November, Thanksgiving. Then you got December, but that's Christmas. So really, that's not even 4 months. It's more like 3.5 months, maybe. That's like an internship. So really, your semester every year is an internship, your fall and spring semesters, except you're taking 4, 5, 6, 7 classes with various topics at the exact same time. And you're trying to have a social life, and you're trying to have fun with your friends. I actually believe the internship is easier than the semester. The difference, though, is that you know the semester, like you know the cadence of the semester, and you get into the rhythm and the groove of it. And though it's a lot, you understand it. The internship is the unknown. And I think that fear of the unknown may hurt you. But I would just tell you to believe in yourself from the beginning, because you already know how to consume a lot of information. You're doing it inside of your semesters already. So just have the confidence in that, and then just start to learn how to navigate with the things you don't know, because it's just unique going to work on a daily basis. Some of you may not have you haven't woken up that early in the morning in a long time. If you don't, like me, I did the 8 a.m. college classes. I was the crazy person on campus going to class at 8 o'clock in the morning. But most people don't like to wake up early. But when you go to work, you're normally going to have an earlier schedule about your start of your days. So it's just those things may be different, but consuming information, I believe that you already are great at consuming information. I don't know if anybody else had an opinion about that, with the amount of information that you can consume over a summer.
I guess I'll just chime in. I completely agree with you on that. And I think being comfortable and transparent, admitting what you don't know, it'll make the process a lot easier for people to want to give you the feedback, want to help educate you. Because I think sometimes we like to pretend like we know things. Just admit you don't know. And the people there are typically there to support you. This is your time to mess up. This is your time to try new things and get an understanding of new things. So honestly, I think it's what you make of it. If you want to embrace the learning new things and taking on new challenges, typically whoever's over your internship, they'll typically give you that space to do that. So our next question is, did you receive a stipend for your internship?
I was paid by the hour. So I guess you can call that, yes, a stipend. There was some form of payment. Payments for internships can be different. Some people are paid by the hour. Some people get a lump sum, kind of like a stipend type of concept. Some internships don't get paid at all. And then some not only get paid by the hour, some internships may pay you overtime. So if you work over a certain number of hours, they'll pay you extra for the hours over, 40, 45 hours. you may get paid extra for those hours. So I always got paid for my internships, but I'll be honest with you, I was hungry enough to be willing to take a free internship. If that internship was free, I was going to take it. I was happy I got paid because I needed the money badly. But yes, I would have been open. I think I would have been open. Knowing what I know now, I would definitely be open. Only because I know the return on the investment later is of greater value than the money I made that summer. There's a lot more money to come than the money you're going to make that summer. That experience is of greater value than the money. Now, with that being said, I don't want to be insensitive, because I know that you might be like, look, Brian, that's good because you got some money now. But remember, you said you were broke and you needed that money. And I remember that moment. And I'm telling you, I'm only giving you this feedback because I have lived a little longer. The feedback that I'm giving you is that it is of greater value to have that experience than the money. Now, if you're in a situation in life where it's a necessity, then you do what you have to do, paid opportunity. But from getting the experience, it's of extreme value later. It's going to be of more value to you later than it is going to be in that particular summer. So that's my personal advice. I would love any advice that anyone else would like to share as well on that topic. And that's a sensitive one, right? Because it's personal.
I guess everyone is still waking up. There we go. We have somebody raising their hand.
Hi, this is Linda de la Garza. I'm a professor at the Department of Chemistry at Valdosta State. And I do have a personal experience regarding that during my senior year in college. I was interested in learning more about biotechnology, and this professor had a project in the summer, but of course he didn't have money to pay extra students. So I kind of shadowed his master's student through that summer. I was already paying for my apartment during the summer. So I told my parents, it's like, there's not a lot of money because I still have to pay the apartment. Otherwise I get kicked out during the summer. So I decided to stay, and it was amazing. He actually wrote a brilliant, amazing letter of recommendation for me. And I think it's due to that I got accepted into the PhD program later because of that, that very nice things I imagine that he put in that letter. So I'm extremely thankful of that opportunity and everything I learned during that summer.
Awesome. And that's, like I said, it's not easy, right? Those can be tough decisions to make. But depending on your ability to take an unpaid internship or research opportunity, if it's, if you're making your decision off of no experience versus some experience, then please take the some experience. Now, if it's experience paid versus experience unpaid, then still have a dialogue with yourself and say, which opportunity is best for me, right? Still have that one little moment to step back before you just say, hey, I'm making money, go. Still have that dialogue, because as we learn, particular opportunities, if they're the right ones, could be of greater value to you as well. So looks like Emilio, is that Emilio? Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, this is Emilio. How's it going? My name is Emilio. I go to Madison College in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm on the medical track, looking towards a surgical specialty. And I wanted to ask, when it comes to patient care experience and research, which one do you think would be more contributing to the experience of being in a clinic or being in a hospital, and can give you a more well-rounded approach to how you practice medicine?
Well, I think you kind of, at least on my end, you answered the question with your question, because you said practice medicine, right? And I don't know how much patient care experience you're going to get from a research perspective, I think there is some, but I think the practicality of it is more important. And so if you're practicing medicine, you're a practitioner, you may want to get as much practice as possible. And so for you, in customer care and customer experience, I think patient experience, I think you're going to probably lean more on the internship side. And then also, remember what we said earlier, Emilio, that it helps refine things for you as well. And so in your medical space, you seem to be clear on what you want to do, but there is a million different options to go to in the medical space. And so what may happen is just having that practical experience over one summer or semester, whatever the case may be, may help refine your future of where you want to go to make sure it's truly the path that you want to take. Hopefully that helped. And if anyone wants to add to that has any more direct experience in the medical space, please feel free to add to that. Did that help you, Emilio? Oh, sorry, Nina, it looks like you wanted to share.
I think I just wanted to add another thing. I'm also interested into the medical field. And I feel like one of the things that kind of helped me get that practice in that you could probably consider is you could probably volunteer at a hospital, as well as you can get a job if you want money, because that's something I needed for, paying for college, is you can get a job that has direct patient care, such as like a CNA job or STNA. And with COVID, you can also, there was temporary positions where you didn't need a certification, where you could just work there for about 6 months. So I think those are definitely options as well if you want a direct patient care experience.
Yeah, the CNA licensure. I'm planning on getting that this summer so I can get some experience, but I don't really know much about the research aspect. And Nina, you saying that you had experience doing some research on your own helped you realize that you want to do a medical field, kind of opened my eyes to the possibility of learning lessons from research that you wouldn't be able to get if you're doing patient care experience.
Of course, that's a really good point.
But yes, Brian, you answered my question. Thank you. I think that getting the experience is probably the most important thing.
Yep. And you, what year in school are you right now?
A sophomore.
Sophomore. Oh yeah, man. That's actually perfect. So you're a sophomore, you're going to be going into your junior year. So if there's a pivot that needs to take place, you still have plenty of time to make a pivot. The summers, I don't know, this is for me, my summer actually, I ended up pivoting, and I know a lot of people have told me they had a summer experience that made them change their direction. So just in case that you do that, the earlier you start with internships and summer experiences, the better. Yep. Did we have were there any more questions inside the Hoover, Dorian?
There are. How did you find your internship? That's the next question.
That's a great question. We were going to talk about that in the next session about going to go get them. But for me, it started off with the career fair on campus. I took advantage of my fall semester career fair. Many colleges are going to have both fall and spring. Attend them, please. Go. You have both internship, full-time employment, and also graduate studies are going to be there as well. So for me, it was as simple as the career fair that was on campus that started the process for me. And then as I was in the NSBE organization, I was the president for my campus, we went to the national conferences. Now, NSBE also has fall conference as well, along with the national conference that's typically in March. And there is the big conference. The problem with that is that most internships are going to try to be filled by companies in the first semester. So they actually want to meet the majority of their quota before Christmas. A lot of students don't know that. On the second half of the year, they're going to leave a few internships open because there's still a few more conferences to go to. But in the fall is the easiest time to secure your summer of 2022 internship. Why? Because there's more opportunities. As those opportunities close, the competition for those opportunities gets greater. And so those who take advantage early and go after those internships in the fall, like you're in a winning position. Anybody want to add to that particular one, or how you found your internship? Maybe it was different than the way I found mine. But I do just want to say college campus career fairs are underrated. Like, people don't go to their career fairs on their campus, and I don't know why.
And I'll take that a step further to say the career services office as well. So if you have a relationship with those individuals already, then they sometimes can tell you what's coming available. They know the people to contact. So I would challenge you to find out who's in your career services office that's for your major, for your year in school, or however it's set up at your university, because that'll be really important for you. Our next question is, how did you manage your time?
Ooh. For me, at least, it was easy to get up and go to work because I was an early bird. I did not, in the summer, I didn't have any other responsibilities other than my internship. So I guess for me, the answer to that question, it was easy. I just had to go to work. I got up, was at work on time, was attentive, focused on the task at hand in my job over the summer. But I was out of state, right? So I didn't have like friends that are like, hey, let's go out, or, I was like in a little small town in Searcy, Arkansas. And so I had a lot of ability to focus on my job. I think we had a Sonic drive-in. That was like the talk of the town, was we can go get something from Sonic. But other than that, I really focused on just the job at hand. And I was, like I said, because I was like out of state, away from the noise, I didn't have any family or friends around. I also I was not partaking in any other, I wasn't taking summer classes while I was doing my internship. Now, for my co-op, as mentioned earlier, a little bit different. I was going to work while also taking 2 classes. Also at that time, I'm now there month 4 or 5, so I've built a network of friends. And so that's where it got a little bit more complicated, and the time management really had to kick in. But the main thing for me with time management was focusing on the main thing. And I had to make a choice. What is the main thing? Is it me maximizing this opportunity, or is it me having some fun? And so I knew that if I was successful in life, I was going to be able to have a lot of fun and afford to have that fun. And so I made the choice to focus on the internship, putting together the best experience, getting them good recommendations, and building my resume up. And that just allowed for me to always put the main thing in the right level of priority. And anybody else that had time management tips or thoughts, please add.
I would say mine is fairly similar. I consider myself pretty organized. So I would always, if there wasn't a deadline already set by my supervisor, I would set deadlines for myself in terms of when I wanted to have something delivered by. I think something in the beginning that's important to understand is that you want to get the expectations from your mentor or supervisor up front, so that way you can make sure you deliver what you need to, and then all of the rest, you can incorporate all of the rest of the aspects. Like I did go out with some of the other interns and start networking and building those relationships so that I could also enjoy the experience. But you want to, again, make sure that you're handling the task at hand. And our final question, Brian, is what skills did you learn?
Oh, that's a good one. So for me, I did an internship that was in the manufacturing space, more on the industrial engineering side, lean manufacturing. So just terminology, right? Sometimes what we do in the classroom versus industry, though it's similar, the exact terminology of things is going to be different. Individual companies have their own language. So just learning, almost like, I feel like I learned to speak another language. I learned to speak the language of business and industry. And to the point where my professor, he was talking to me about my experiences, and he was like, wow, can you put together a presentation and come back to the campus and do a workshop on what you learned over the summer? Because remember, I did the co-op, so I was still away from the campus. Just so you guys know, that was the first presentation I ever created. And that was the beginning of me creating my company. And that's why I'm in front of you today. Because of that, all I did was a presentation over what I learned over the summer and the different terminologies that correlated with what my professor was teaching, but not the exact same words. So he wanted to make sure that he was linking his lessons with the industry. And my classmates thought it was good. I did a little PowerPoint, maybe 5 or 6 slides, and that was my first presentation I've ever gave. And because it was my peers, I was like, wow, I have value. And so I started writing workshops in college. And from that point on, I've never stopped doing speaking engagements and workshops and seminars, but it all came from, just my learnings from the summer and packaging that into a PowerPoint presentation.
Well, Brian, it looks like we are out of time. So thank you for giving your insights today. And thank you for all of those who spoke up and who attended today's session. As a reminder, this session was recorded and it will be posted to the Hoover app by Wednesday of next week. Lastly, please complete the post-session survey. And I am going to drop the link again, just put it in the chat. So please tell us your thoughts on how you enjoyed the session today. Thank you.
Yep, and we will, for those that want to attend, we have some more training on internships at the next hour. So please check your agenda for that. And then also at the next session, we'll go a little deeper into the Eaton Corporation. Actually, just real quick, I don't know if Deb is here to drop those links, but we can do it here as well. In worst case, I know I'll have it on the next one. Here, let me just share my screen real quick so you guys have this, just in case you don't make the next session. All right, can you see my screen? You see my screen, Darren?
Yes.
All right, so just wanted to make sure we touch base on the internship opportunity with Fermilab. I wanna kind of bring your eyes to my mouse over here, looking at the key dates. October 28th, application window opens, application due on January 10th, students selected by Fermilab on March 2nd, May 18th through August the 7th is the 12-week internship program. So we wanted to make sure we highlighted that. And then you'll get, as part of the presentation, some resources, and we're going to talk about that at the next session, and then some of the next steps. So we'll go through a lot of this in the next session, but also the Eaton Corporation internship is available as well for us to apply to, along with taking advantage of any other opportunities that you have. But we wanted, as a LSMRCE family, to present these 2 specific internships to our students to apply to. So just wanted to share that with you, and we'll talk more about it at the next session. And thank you, Darian, for your leadership with this session. All right, we'll give you guys a little bit of break before our next session start. We'll see you in about 10 minutes. Take care.